Greetings viewers, this is Michael Wright in Norman, Oklahoma. In this video I'm going to tell you about former U.S. Senator David Boren of Oklahoma. Since his 1994 resignation from the Senate, he has been president of the University of Oklahoma. Over the years, Boren has managed to keep himself in the national spotlight. In January 2008, he gained attention by exploiting OU resources to host his bipartisan forum with New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg as his guest. In April 2008, Boren angered his Oklahoma conservative supporters and made the news again by endorsing Obama for president. When Boren resigned from his powerful Senate seat in 1994, he still had 2 years remaining on his third term. In 1990, he had been re-elected to this seat with 83% of the vote. Boren resigned after having persuaded the OU regents into making him president of that school. Isn't that rather strange that Boren would voluntarily give up a powerful and highly visible Senate seat to take the presidency of a university not known around the nation for much of anything other than its football team? Boren's father, former Congressman Lyle Boren, raised him to have the ambition of growing up to be president of the USA. At age 53 in 1994, Boren seemed to be on the path to achieving this ambition. Then he surprised Oklahomans by giving up his Senate seat along with all the seniority he had gained. Along the way, he made such excuses as blaming all the partisanship in Washington and proclaiming how much he loved the University of Oklahoma. An important fact which did not reach the mainstream press when Boren was stepping down from the Senate is that in 1993, gay activists had begun to out him as queer and accuse him of sexually harassing his male staff members. It's time that the truth about David Boren should reach a wide audience. He has continually kept himself in the national media spotlight over the years. Supporters of Obama should pay particularly close attention since in April 2008, Obama enthusiastically accepted Boren's endorsement. Boren is a right-winger from way back and a good friend of McCain and the Bush family. There is literature about Boren in the gay press. In my accompanying text are links to scans of some excerpts from these publications. This is an article which appeared in a gay publication, The Texas Triangle, on July 14, 1993. On the front page, the headline is, "Attempted Outing of Oklahoma Senator Provides Lesson." The headline on the next page of this article says, "Petrellis names Boren as Queer in America's infamous senator." This refers to Michael Petrellis, a member of Queer Nation in San Francisco. Petrellis took the leadership in making the accusations against Boren. Queer in America is a book by Michelangelo Signorile, a gay author. In this book, he devotes half a chapter to someone he calls the Legislator. This legislator was obviously a U.S. Senator, since the author tells us that he voted for the confirmation of Clarence Thomas as a Supreme Court Justice and in the 80s had supported the nomination of Robert Bork. 3 former staff members, male staff members of this senator had spoken to Signorile in confidence and described to him their ordeals of having been sexually harassed by this senator. They did not want to be identified for fear of retaliation from this ruthless senator. For this reason, they were given pseudonyms in the book. In his description of the senator, Signorile tells some important facts about his actual biography and voting record. The senator served in the Senate in the 1980s. So did David Boren. The senator voted to confirm Clarence Thomas as a Supreme Court Justice. So did David Boren. The senator supported the nomination of Robert Bork. So did David Boren. Before being elected to his first federal office, the senator had held a statewide electoral office. David Boren had been governor of Oklahoma. The senator was married to a woman. So was David Boren. The senator had been groomed for office by a political family. So was David Boren. But most importantly, in the summer during his first campaign for federal office, the senator held a press conference to deny being homosexual. That is exactly what David Boren did in August 1978. It was all over the newspapers in Oklahoma. The closet homosexual senator described in Signorile's book could be none other than David Boren. Of this senator, Signorile writes that almost all of the men who had worked for him were handsome and appealing, and that one of the former staff members who spoke to him feels that the senator was hiring them on that basis, perhaps with the possibility of having sex with them. A good example is this boyish-looking young fellow, Clarke Stroud, who was appointed as a vice president by Boren when he was only 32 years old. Stroud was an OU undergraduate and a member of the Roughneck Cheering Squad. They are the ones with the obnoxious, loud, amplified shotguns at football games. According to Sooner magazine, as an undergraduate, Stroud was called up for disciplinary action, but the article doesn't say what the reason was. The campus newspaper of December 4, 2002, reports that 2 underage OU fraternity boys were arrested on their way to a fraternity party with 2,100 cans of beer in their car. Stroud, as an OU official, excused this as merely an isolated incident and hoped that no one would make a broad stereotype from it. 2 years later, OU fraternity pledge Blake Hammontree drank himself to death at a binge drinking party. In my text box, please see the information about some of the other peculiar young fellows to whom Boren has given OU jobs with high salaries. 2 years after Michael Petrelis started speaking out about Boren, definite confirmation of Boren's queerness was provided in a 1995 book by W. Scott Thompson, author of The Price of Achievement. As you can see on the cover, Thompson was a Reagan presidential appointee. He was also a Rhodes Scholar at Oxford when Boren was there. He knew Boren, and he knew that Boren was queer. Thompson came out as gay himself in the 80s. In his book, he devotes 2 pages to Boren and names him. Thompson writes that he was aware that David Boren was gay before he was aware of his own homosexuality. He said that Boren's homosexuality was never too far from the surface. Thompson also believes that Boren's surprise 1994 resignation from his Senate seat was almost surely prompted by fears of a deeper degree of outing. Thompson also mentions reasonably well-attested stories of continued gay imbroglios on Capitol Hill. Most importantly, Thompson says that Boren was referred to implicitly in Signorile's book, Queer in America. This is the cover of another book by gay authors. One of the co-authors is William Percy, a gay history professor at the University of Massachusetts. It is entitled Outing, Shattering the Conspiracy of Silence. In the preface, the authors write that the most significant outing since they went to press is that of Senator David L. Boren. For this, they credit Petrelis and Signorile. Obama supporters, when this news gets out to Republicans, they will try to tarnish your candidate by pointing to his association with Boren. The smartest thing for you to do right now would be to tell your campaign leaders that it would be in Obama's interest to dump David Boren immediately. Viewers, as a final word, don't forget to look in my text box to links to some of the excerpts from these publications. This is Michael Wright in Norman, Oklahoma, signing off.